Call the meeting to order. Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Boyce, call the roll, please.
Mr. Asatola?
Present.
Mr. Bruno?
Present.
Mrs. Canario? Mrs. Lavin?
Yep.
Mr. Lawson? Mr. Messinger? Here. Mrs. Sotero?
Here.
Mr. Mazik?
Here.
Mr. Moses?
Here. Okay. Pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Laws of 1975, this meeting has been duly advertised in the Park Press, issue of November 30th, 2008. All municipal clerks of the townships and boroughs within the regional high school district have been duly notified, and the requirements of posting of notices have been met. Okay, disapproved communications. Okay, so we come to reports, superintendent's report.
Okay, we'll open up this evening with the presentation from two of our world language supervisors, Dr. Merrill Norch and Mr. David Bleakley.
Buenas noches, bonsoir, buonasera, ni hao, and dobry večer. I'm pleased and proud to be here this evening to represent the World Language Program here at Freehold Regional. I would like to thank all of those who came out in support of the World Language instruction, my instructional staff, building principals, including my building principal, Mrs. Ina Dervig, Mr. Sampson, the Board of Ed, central administrators, the public, and those supervisory colleagues who could not be here with us this evening, but who are doing an excellent job with the World Language Program. Mrs. Judy Newens, Mr. Peter Cray, Mr. Jose Francis, and Mr. David Bleakley, who is here with me this evening. Bienvenidos a todos. The vision. Teaching world languages for communication. It heightens students' linguistics and cultural awareness of their local, state, and the world and community. It encourages interdisciplinary and workplace readiness connections that may involve business and community members as mentors and models, and it prepares students for using world languages in whatever career choices that they may make. Well, why speak another language, you may ask? Well, in the 21st century, students must be prepared to participate linguistically in appropriate ways as they interact with members of other cultures and become productive members of the diverse community in which we live. Because of this, students must learn how to become orally proficient in more than one language. And that's what we try to do here at Freehold Regional. Each content area has a clear set of New Jersey core content curriculum standards that educators must follow. Classical and world languages, no different. Through world language instruction, students can develop proficiency in other languages, which can definitely broaden their career options. Students learn skills in languages other than English and make more attractive employment candidates in a wide range of careers where communicating with diverse customers is necessary. Now, there are not just New Jersey core content career standards in each subject. There are New Jersey professional standards for teachers. This book was given to all the supervisors approximately 2 years ago by Ms. Evangelista, and I think it really warrants informing the public of the contents of the book, because it's very important. We understand that teachers have to pass tests. We understand that they have to be content appropriate and know what they're talking about in front of our classrooms with our kids. We understand that. But what does it really involve? Well, the New Jersey Professional Standards for Teachers promotes qualified educators by providing specific standards to which all educators must adhere. Research conducted over the past decade by groups such as the National Commission on Teaching and America's Future and the Career for Improvement of Early Reading Achievement have identified a knowledge base and the skill sets that successful teachers must possess. Now, it encompasses 10 standards, which encompasses the broad range of skills and knowledge a teacher needs, including deep content knowledge with varied instructional strategies to meet all learners, the creation of a productive learning environment, the use of assorted assessments, which we all do here at the Regional, the understanding of human growth, the ability to work with diverse learners, strong communication skills, instructional planning, and the ability to create strong partnerships with parents, colleges, and the community. Okay, I'm not going to go into reading each slide, but the first standard one is subject matter knowledge. Human growth and development is standard 2. Diverse learners, instructional planning and strategies to meet those diverse learners. This is where differentiated instruction comes in. Assessment. We all do the diagnostic, formative, and summative assessments, as well as performance-based assessments. Learning environment. Motivation. Motivation is a major force of student success. Special needs students, students with special needs, as well as communication. We have to stress the effective verbal and nonverbal, as well as written communication. We have collaboration and partnerships with parents, guardians, families. And last but not least, professional development is first and foremost. ACTFL. The national standards, the American Council of Teachers of Foreign Language, proposes that all students should attain communicative proficiency where they have the ability to use language for purposeful communication. How many of you grew up in the 1960s?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, and verb drills were very much in place. Well, that's great. But did it really teach us to communicate in the target language that we were learning? No. So ACTFL proposes that we need to teach students how to talk, how to communicate effectively, how to get their needs across by not just using rote memorization. Through communication modes of interpersonal, interpretive, and presentational, students are able to make connections and comparisons to and between cultures and communities. Good language achievement enhances a student's college prospects and opens paths for a wider range of college-level fields of study. Okay. And this is the ACTFL visual framework. It has the modes of communication, the interpretive, the presentational, and interpersonal. Okay. What constitutes effective learning? Effective learning must be meaningful. Students have to want to learn. What can this this information do for me? How can it help me? What's in it for me? My favorite, authentic assessments. This is what many of my staff do at Howell High School. Through a myriad of vignettes, scenarios, project-based learning, students can actively apply their language knowledge in authentic situations. How many of you role-played when you were in middle school or high school? That you went to a restaurant, you went to a different country, Spain, Italy, France, and you were the client and you wanted to order food. I never did that when I was in high school. And we really missed out, and these kids are just not going to miss out on this education. Students know how they'll be graded prior to the start of their project through the use of a rubric, okay? The tool that is aligned with authentic assessments. Along with authentic assessments, we use diagnostic, formative, and summative as well. So educators have a multi-tiered system by which to measure student proficiency and success, which is across all disciplines. Results. Students will become more responsible for their own grade. They're accountable. They know ahead of time how they're going to be graded. No one likes surprises, not even kids. Okay? Not in this type of way, anyway. They're not bored, and they're not tired of the language instruction. And failures will decrease. Now, it's my pleasure to present Mr. David Bleakley.
Good evening. Something that we are very proud of in each of the 6 world language departments is our commitment to the effective integration of instructional technology. It goes without saying at this point that our teachers are comfortable with their own use of technology. However, the world language teachers, perhaps more so than others, have demonstrated a significant commitment to student use of technology. Some examples that you would see in world language classrooms across the district are the use of Moodle, an online course management system for students to interact with one another and their teachers by file sharing and engaging in asynchronous discussion forums. The use of Audacity, a recording software program for students to record themselves speaking in the target language and submit those recordings to teachers for review. The use of programs like Microsoft Photo Story for students to blend digital images with text and voiceover narration in the target language, of course. And the use of movie-making software such as iMovie or Windows Movie Maker for students to work collaboratively in the creation of a foreign language film. Effective student use of technology provides many benefits to teachers and students. Not the least of these benefits is that students, generally speaking, enjoy working with technology. When students enjoy their schoolwork, then it follows that they will be more engaged in the learning process. Speaking on behalf of the group that supervises the respective world language departments, I can say that we have all observed students in classes ranging from the most basic level courses all the way through the advanced placement level, in which students are completely focused on a project because they so enjoy working with the various technologies. I think the most important thing to stress about the integration of technology in the foreign language classroom is that it forces students to synthesize their learning. That is to say, it compels students to create, and I emphasize the importance of that word, create something new with the raw material they are given, which of course is the course content. More often than not, these creations involve students speaking and listening, which emphasize the oral proficiency we want to impress most upon our students. As with all content areas, diversity of assessment and activity is essential to success in the world language classroom, and we see that diversity across the district. The previously mentioned integration of technology contributes greatly to that diversity. In addition, teachers in the world language classroom stress the importance of authentic assessments, like my colleague mentioned. Those assessments that allow students to take content and skills from the curriculum and transfer that material to a source of relevance in their lives. As an example, a typical project for students in a world language class would look something like this. After students have learned the vocabulary associated with the household, and after they have learned the preterite or past tense, students might be required to create a photo journal with photographs from their own childhood, with text overlays and voice narration. Students would then use the past tense and the household vocabulary to describe the photographs. This project would be assessed using an analytic rubric that would include multiple categories, including assessing the accuracy of the text, the fluency of the speech, and the organization of the photo journal. Those of us involved in world language instruction are also committed to the implementation of diagnostic, formative, and summative assessment. For example, as with other core subject areas, students in world language classes will complete 5 through-course assessments by the end of the 2011-2012 school year. These TCAs stress oral proficiency, and they provide teachers with data at regular intervals regarding each student's level of mastery of course content. Armed with that data, teachers are able to then remediate entire classes if necessary, spend additional time with specific students, or move on in the curriculum. I'm going to turn it back over to Dr. Norwich.
Thank you, Mr. Bleakley. Okay, when I first got to Howell, approximately in 2001, I was given the title of supervisor, yet I really truly didn't know what that meant. Yeah, sure, I was able to make 3-ring binders. I was the best 3-ring binder maker you could ever want to know. But what exactly was my role? I needed to assess something. I needed to garner some stats somewhere. So I figured, well, let me see how many students were failing and what the failure rate truly was. So before implementation of my program, I called up the IT department, and there was no stores, and there was no portal, and there was no software, and I literally counted stats manually by the large printouts that I was given. And I went through countless years, year after year, to manage and to keep track of all the final exam failures, the midterm exam failures, the final end of the year failures. So after I saw that the midterm exam yielded a 23% failure rate, final exam yielded 34%, final grade overall was 16%, I knew I had to do something, but what did I need to do? That's when I started investigating, and that corresponded with going for my doctorate degree. So I started gleaning curricula that needed to be revised, and the instructional methodologies that we were using within the district needed to be remediated as well. But how were we to do it? Then I read about authentic assessment, project-based learning, and rubrics. None of my staff members back in 2001, 2002 knew what a rubric was. And that's when I implemented professional development for approximately a year to a year and a half. And I can safely and proudly say that because of my staff members' willingness to embrace change, and it was a major change for them, we now have a failure rate of 7.45, which is pretty good. Now, it would have been lower had we not had a lot of turnover, maternity leaves, and you can't really account for every variable when you go on our stats. But I'm very happy with the way that my staff members instruct their students in the World Language Program, and I am here to uphold success and here for all students to give them the opportunities to succeed here at Freehill Regional. Thank you.
Thank you, Meryl. Thank you, David. For those of you who may be unaware, we're in the midst of a process of developing a strategic plan here in the district. We are about to move into another phase of that planning, which is the action planning component of developing the strategic plan. One of the items that's up for adoption for the Board of Education this evening is the mission statement. Mr. Jeff Moore, who is an administrative supervisor for curriculum instruction, has been charged with, as the capacity of the internal coordinator for that process. As we start our action planning training and work tomorrow, we thought it would be appropriate if Mr. Moore could come up and give just a brief snapshot overview of where we are presently.
Well, I have an opportunity to comment.
Thank you, and I appreciate the opportunity to report on our progress and where we're headed. Mr. Sampson alluded to really the next big, which is probably the biggest step in this process, which begins tomorrow with the action planning teams and their training with Dr. Ferguson, who presented with me on the 12th when we unveiled the framework. But between the 12th and now, a lot has happened, and Mr. Bleakley back there is going to just help me navigate through our strategic planning website, that compass.frhsd.com. We're on the framework page. The mission has changed slightly since we've
we've been back to you, but I want to scroll down all the way to the bottom of the page and just show you where there's a record there under that changelog title of all of the revisions that have occurred to the framework since we unveiled on the 12th. So between then and now, in fact, on that very date of the 12th, we had a press conference with some representatives from local media outlets, and they really helped us get the word out to the community about what was going on here, not only on our website, but in the larger process that we would soon be asking folks to participate in. So since then, we've had coverage in the news transcript. We've had coverage on WOBM. I don't know if you caught Mr. Sampson's interview on WOBM, but I think he's still available on their website. Colts Neck Journal, the Asbury Park Press, and a few of the local patches, Howell, Freehold, Manalapan, and Marlboro, all gave us coverage on this process and pointed folks toward our website and toward the survey that we had there. Our survey, we also sought feedback from graduates over the past 2 years, as well as parents of community members, students, teachers, and others. We had just about 800 people pile into our survey, and we had roughly another 100 or so comments through other areas of the website, and providing a lot of feedback on the framework, the mission, the goals, and the strategies. In addition, I visited each of the 6 schools over the month of January and held a little town hall. Principals and supervisors spread the word among students and teachers about the framework, and we had healthy groups in each school who were in a town hall format able to give us some really strong feedback. So we're now here after going through several revisions. You can see under that changelog there that we've gone through about 3 different revisions. And Mr. Bleakley, if you could, on the January 10th revision, click on that commented version link, just to give you a sense of what we've done. That track changes feature in Microsoft Word is always fun. So we've, with each revision, laid out exactly what was changed and what feedback led us to do that. So this has been running since we unveiled on the 12th. And one of the things I want to point out in particular, that right there, under objectives, the second one, well, the first and second one there, that original one, all students will actively participate in their community and the civics process. And, we changed that to all students will exercise citizenship in 21st century communities after receiving a lot of feedback from the community and from students that the objective wasn't broad enough. It wasn't modern enough. It wasn't reaching for that 21st century participation that we were looking for. Mr. Bleakley, if you can go back one step for me. And the next one up, the February 13th, that commented version. And scroll down for me into the objectives. This one actually came from students when I visited Manalapan High School and spoke with a pretty sizable group of students there in the Media Center. The students were zeroing in on that second objective, the one that's crossed out. All students will explore and pursue, thank you, an individualized post-secondary plan. Students were very interested in connecting back into the mission statement, particularly that word in the mission statement, inspire. And they were feeling that that second objective wasn't really ringing true for them. It wasn't inspiring them to really pursue the objectives and strategies that we were laying out. So we went back and forth quite a bit and redeveloped that objective into something that would hook more explicitly back into that word inspire in the mission statement. So looking for developing in students habits for lifelong learning through individualized passions. The school would be a place where our students could hook into a passion that they might know already, or a passion that they might discover while they're with us, and use that as a springboard into lifelong learning. One of the conversations that led into this whole strategic planning process, in which we talked about on the 12th, was this notion of lifelong learning and how so many districts say that without defining it. And it's through this process now that we're beginning to define that. Lifelong learning is beginning to mean to us that students will discover something that lights a fire in their belly to carry their learning forward for the rest of their lives. So their learning will be within the realm of something that they're passionate about. Now, the next steps for us. Tomorrow, Dr. Ferguson will rejoin us in the district with the action team leaders, about 20 individuals who are going to be working with community members to take each of those 8 strategies. Mr. Bleakley, could you go back one step? And scroll down to the or up to the strategies for me. Thank you. These 8 strategies are each going to have an action team of roughly 10 to 15 people, depending on the size of the job beneath them. And the internal leaders of those teams will meet tomorrow and receive training from Dr. Ferguson. Through the month of March, we will be gathering additional participants. Now, a lot of those folks have already identified themselves through the website tools. We have students and community members ready to go, and we're looking for more, so anyone can come to the website and sign up. We're also, we have just sent hundreds of letters out to the community to bring this project and bring the need for their participation to everyone's mailbox. 400 letters have gone out to municipal and other leaders throughout the region, and we have a second wave of letters going out of roughly about 200 or so letters to leaders of community organizations and other organizations, PTOs, PTSAs, and others. There are ways to participate whether you're on an action team or not. So there are sounding boards that we need through the process to show the work to folks and get feedback along the way. And there are also just, of course, there's always a need for folks to just come on board, roll up their sleeves, and get down into the planning with us. Planning will commence in March, and we hope to wrap up everything in May, come back to the steering committee with draft plans, and then by the end of that month, have a draft full plan for the board to see. Thank you.
Just to dovetail on that, there will be a public forum on March 13th at the Freehold Township Municipal Building. We've sent out hundreds of letters inviting folks to come out to that, and I'd like to thank you, Jeff. You've done the website is terrific. As a matter of fact, earlier this afternoon, we had a presentation from an energy company that actually utilized the Compass website as a representation of what they were looking into and what was unfolding in the district, so it was tied in real time. I'd also like to thank Ms. Williams, who's, I'll forward this to the board once we complete it, but who has really done an unbelievable job of gathering a one-stop shopping contact list for the Freehold Regional. You know, we're unique in the sense that we're 8 different municipalities, and there's not just one mayor and one community leader in this particular group. There's multiples throughout 212 square miles. So putting that together in one comprehensive list for the district to be able to access and communicate out is tremendous. So thank you, Jeff. I know we also had a question for the world language folks.
Yes. Well, what time is that Freehold Township Municipal, the meeting at the Freehold Township Municipal Building?
6:30? 6:30.
And it's not so much a question, but more of a comment. I come from a bilingual family. I grew up speaking Chinese, and I don't think I ever fully appreciated the rigorous instruction and immersion that I had until I started traveling, and it could be around the world where I can connect and collaborate with people, or even in Freehold where I've been on first aid calls and the patient only speaks Chinese. It's just so incredibly valuable to have that skill set. And with Mr. Moore talking about the mission statement, I think that the strength of our world language curriculum is going to be vital to help students learn how to engage in a global society. So I look forward to working with the administration and the community on strengthening our world language program. And one thing struck me when you said that you really appreciated the staff's willingness to embrace change. I think that speaks loads because it's really hard to believe in change, and it takes a lot of trust, and that is a hard process to go through. And at the same time, I think it's to the students, that you look to the students and you see a willingness to be uncomfortable, to be in a different culture that they don't understand, learning a language that they've never, they haven't grown up listening to those kind of inflections or those tones, and I just really want to commend students for that. Just a few other notes on my end. We have
a few items. We're adopting the tentative budget this evening, and what that really means in reality is we are adopting a budget that is not set in stone, that is not the final budget by any stretch of the imagination, but it is being approved to be forwarded to the county superintendent for technical review. At this point in time, folks may have read about the increase in state aid that Freehold Regional High School District received, which was a welcome boon. There's a lot of miscommunication. Some politicians put out press releases erroneously laying out the process for why we received additional state aid. The fact of the matter is that for a number of years we were not receiving what we were truly entitled to under the school funding formula. And when you look at a number of variables, they changed it this year in terms of what they kind of honed in on. One of those facts was adequacy spending. So adequacy spending in the state of New Jersey, the state says you're a district, your particular district should spend X amount of dollars, right? The budget that we're putting forth tonight and the budget that we've put forth in previous years, and again the tentative budget I should say, is $4.5 million under that number that the state identifies should be what we spend. So we've reaped the benefit of being below adequacy for a number of years in the new in the way they've reinterpreted the formula, I should say. Another fact to that was typically they would look at your enrollment figures, and there was one stop report, an ASSA report that was done on October 15th of each year, and that was your number that you submitted to the state. The state has changed that to look at your daily attendance, your average daily attendance, and if you're a district with superior attendance, you did well in the new funding formula. And then finally, there's something known as adjustment aid, which we have really never received. And a lot of districts over the years received a significant amount of adjustment aid. With the new landscape of how it was interpreted, it was the perfect storm for Freehold Regional to kind of win on all angles there. So that's how that increased state aid came about. It has nothing to do with simply enrollment trends, because our enrollment has been relatively stable for the past 4 or 5 years. So I wanted to get out in front of some of these press releases that were sent to the public that frankly had it wrong for other folks that wanted to gather the moment, I guess. We also had a team of 5 College Board representatives visit the district last week to evaluate our advanced placement program. They will be making a recommendation in writing to us shortly about our program. I can tell you that consisted of 2 days of multiple interviews with various district administrators, teachers of AP, students, and observation of classroom activities. We are one of 8 districts in the state that made the advanced placement honor roll for 2 years in a row. But we know we can do better, and I think the advanced placement folks were really appreciative of the fact they waived the fee to come here to do that, which is typically $15,000. We've become a real success story for them in the sense of a district that does very, very well but wants to continue to do better. So that was a wonderful visit, actually. We had the admissions director for Rider University was on site a couple weeks back to address all of our guidance staff members about trends in college application process, trends in enrollment, and things to do's and don'ts of the college application game. I thought it was incredibly insightful. He's a gentleman who had previously worked for Rutgers University. He's now kind of the head person at Rider University for that process, so incredibly informative, and I thought a terrific session for our guidance staff. And then finally, we had a very successful, we hosted the district wrestling tournament at Manalapan High School about a week ago. It was very, very well attended. Hal actually won the tournament, which was a nice honor, but a number of our students did incredibly well. The event was incredibly orderly, and it was a terrific day and certainly a showcase for the area. Thank you.
Mr. Sanson, I have a question. Did the admissions counselor from Rider suggest any ways that we as a district could better prepare our students?
He talked about, some of the suggestions that he talked about were really process issues for us, really about the strength of schedule of what students took, the number of higher-end courses that a student took in their transcript. He went through the process of how some of the high-end colleges truly take apart a transcript, the student's transcript, and what they choose to weigh in some of their various forms. So I think that was helpful. And he also talked about, he thought our dual ranking system was very confusing, and the fact that we're not on a 4.0 scale, we're on a 4.3 scale was something that they automatically adjust to a 4.0. So we had some conversations around that about how we need to take a look at that system. He was very helpful.
Did he mention anything about the understanding of the academic rigor in our learning centers?
He did, and he talked more about the reputation of the school district as a whole, and that, obviously we're a large district, and our name has been associated with success for students. He didn't hone in on any particular learning center, but he talked about the district as a whole. Sure. Yes, Ken?
Well, the whole reason for our dual ranking is so that it's a little bit, it gives a student that's not in a learning center a higher ranking, because then you're going against the learning center. I don't know what's better or not. It's just the fact that they may not rank if you're only, if you're putting everybody in the same pool.
And that's a terrific point, Ms. Levin. That was actually why we started looking at the dual ranking system again, because what has happened over the past several years is that the number of honors and AP classes that are available to non-learning centers students has basically evened out, so that they're on the same playing field in terms of what GPA they can attain. The one exception may still be the Med-Sci program at Borough, where I believe those students have opportunities for one more advanced placement class perhaps than some of the other, and I'm not 100% positive as to that, but we thought that was one of the items that stood out. But overall, the dual ranking system as a whole it's changed from the initial implementation, because we came up with that initially because students did not have the same opportunities for those number of high-end courses. That's not necessarily the truth anymore with how state requirements have changed for course loads. So that's something that the guidance supervisors are actively taking a look at. Nothing that we're going to take action on anytime soon, but certainly something for the very near future.
All right, we come to the next part of the agenda, which is public participation. Before we start public participation, I know that makes some people very happy. Before we start public participation, a few comments, please. We have 28 people who have signed up to speak, and at 4 minutes apiece. If you use all 4 minutes, that comes out to 112 minutes. Okay, so that's an hour and 52 minutes. So we are going to hold you to the 4 minutes, unlike in the past when we have special people who we give extra time to. We won't be able to do that tonight. Next, we applaud people to come out and speak with passion in favor of a particular event or position or person. What we do not tolerate, and I will not tolerate, is anyone on this board being attacked by anybody in the audience. So I want to make that perfectly clear. If you want to come up and speak and passionately defend a position or person, please feel free to do so. Attacking a board member or administrator will not be tolerated. And before I lose my mind, I want to, on the board's behalf, thank Merrill and David for their presentation.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming out. Okay, I have something to read first. By the way, because of the number of people we're going to ask, I'm going to read out 5 people, the first 5 people on the list, so they can line up at the mic, and then we'll do 5 at a time, and it'll make it a lot easier that way. I have something to read first, and then the Vice President, Jen, has something that she would like to say. As you may know, Jeff Simon, the principal of Manalapan High School, has been on administrative leave since December. Following a thorough investigation on February 6th, the superintendent of schools filed tenure charges and a statement of evidence against the principal with the Board of Education. The charges were served on Mr. Simon, and he filed a written statement of position in response to the charges within 15 days as provided by law. During the executive session held at the beginning of tonight's meeting, the board considered the tenure charges and supporting evidence, as well as Mr. Simon's statement of position, and voted to certify the tenure charges against him. The charges will now be forwarded to the Commissioner of Education for a formal hearing, and Mr. Simon will be afforded his full due process rights. The board's duty in this process was to act in a manner of a grand jury, not to determine Mr. Simon's guilt or innocence. Rather, the board's role was to decide whether there is sufficient evidence for the commissioner to make that determination, and to determine whether the conduct charged, if true, would warrant punishment. During tonight's executive session, the board answered those questions. Pursuant to statute, all board discussions and actions regarding the certification of tenure charges must take place in closed session, not in public. I'll read that again. According to the law, all board discussion and action regarding the certification of tenure charges must take place in closed session, not in public. This is also a personnel matter, which is now proceeding to litigation. For these reasons, the board and the administration will not comment further on the charges this evening, nor will we be able to respond to questions. Please understand that we are bound by the law in this regard and intend no disrespect to the public. Thank you for your understanding, and we will comment further when it is appropriate. Jen?
As you know, I am the sole representative on this board for the Township of Manalapan. That is a position that I not only state with great pride, but accept with tremendous responsibility that implies. Shortly after being notified of his status, Mr. Simon retained Mr. Stuart Moskowitz as his counsel. I would at this time ask that the record of this meeting reflect that I had retained Mr. Moskowitz in the past to represent my husband and I in a personal matter. That matter has been successfully concluded, and I no longer retain him. I have no current interaction with Mr. Moskowitz and have no anticipation of needing an attorney at any time in the near future. In a recent meeting and discussion with Mr. Sampson, I have forthrightly disclosed this relationship, and there appears to be a universal agreement that there is no conflict and no need for me to either excuse myself from involvement with Mr. Simon's situation or recuse myself from any decision that might so greatly affect my township. I offered this as an opening statement only to blunt any suggestion later that full disclosure was in some way withheld or avoided. Thank you.
Okay, so you'll excuse me if I have a hard time with the last names. First up is Alan Forkowitz, and then there's Stu Moskowitz, and then, well, maybe there's Jeff Simon, and then Stu Moskowitz, and then there's Mike, and Mike, I'm sorry, I can't read the last name, and then there's Alexandra Fitzgerald. So those are the first five. So if you please come down, or if you're already there. Okay, Alan? Alan, I want to be rude, so if you get near the 4 minutes, I will say, Al, you got like 30 seconds left, okay? Is that all right with you?
Oh, of course.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Alan Forkowitz, and I reside at 4 Candle Court, Manalapan, New Jersey. I'm a parent of 2 high schoolers in Manalapan High School, and I have 2 children in Manalapan High School, and as of now, we are still not aware of what charges were brought against Mr. Simon. However, we understand that you can't inform us. So I'm here just to support Mr. Simon. I think there's a few other people in the audience here that support Mr. Simon. As of now, I have never met the principal that you have temporarily assigned to Manalapan High School, and as I understand it now, she has not attended any PTA meetings, any other meetings of any other organization, athletic organizations, so we have no one at the head of Manalapan High School. Does anybody else agree with me with that? I have a question that you can't answer probably, but how much is this costing us? I mean, you already said you can't answer questions. So how much is this costing us? You have Mr. Simon, who should be getting paid to do the job. He always did a good job. And now you have another principal at the school that we've never met. I mean, how much is this costing us? How much in litigation? You say you acted as a grand jury. Well, that's the first I've heard of it. There was no public announcements of what position you were having or why you couldn't put out any public information. I think we're all in the dark. I'm going to just leave it at that.
Jeff Simon, Monmouth Beach. I'm here tonight addressing you, the board members, not only because of the obvious reason that I am unfairly being victimized by a retaliatory, revengeful act in violation of the Conscientious Employee Protection Act, but because of my love for the district and for everyone who is part of the Manalapan High School family. Most of you were on the Board of Education because you were not happy how things were going previously. You didn't like how things were being rubber stamped by the previous board members. But it seems like you guys did that today, without giving the people here a chance to speak to you before you made your decision. Also, many of you weren't happy about the questionable advice the lawyers from Schwartz, Simon, Elstein, and Celso LLC have given you. I would have asked this board to please listen to us, read my statement carefully, and then make a decision. I thought you guys were independent, logical thinkers and would do what is best for students, staff, and community members of the entire district. Presently, you have the package in front of you entitled, "The Matter of Tenure Charges Against Jeff Simon," which you are being asked, or you were asked to act upon. Not one of the charges in there, not a single one of the 12 charges, is valid, truthful, substantiated with evidence, warranted, legitimate, or reason for tenure charges to be brought against me. This vindictive witch hunt began against me in September of 2010 when Dr. Kegler...
Excuse me, Mr. Simon.
Okay.
Mr. Simon, you will have the opportunity to have a full trial with respect to any charges against you. Excuse me. May I finish, please? You will have the opportunity to have a full trial.
Excuse me. I thought we made it clear, okay?
Isn't Mr. Comego the board attorney?
Excuse me. I'm sure you do not want us to go into closed session. I'm sure you want your day to have your say.
I thought Mr. Comego was the board attorney.
I'm speaking, sir. I'm sure you want everyone here
who came... the board attorney. If I'm in the middle of speaking, why are you interrupting me?
Oh, excuse me.
Mr. President, may I continue?
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you. Mr. Simon, for this matter, we remain the counsel of record. You will have a full trial. You're not going to be permitted to air that trial right here, right now. You're not going to be permitted to vilify members of the administration. You're not going to be permitted to vilify the board members. You have a very competent lawyer who filed papers on your behalf and whom I'm sure will represent you vigorously throughout the proceedings. This matter has been certified and is now out of the board's control. There is no further action that the law permits them to take with respect to it. So this is, at this point, a speech that's being made to the wrong folks. We're not going to let you air this tonight.
All right. That's fine. I will not,
Let Mr. Simon speak, please.
attack any of these people. All right. What the people in the audience need to know and the people at the Board of Ed need to know, this is a witch hunt. It started last year because of an incident involving an administrator and a coach. Since that day, I have been vilified by the district. The people in charge have made it very difficult for me to do my job. And despite all the obstacles they put in place, my staff and I have pulled off amazing accomplishments, and that is easily able to be verified by looking at the results on tests and talking to the students and the parents. At the end of last year, against state law, against my contract, and against board policy, I was given an evaluation report which had no merit to it. We fought that, and every single one of those charges was proved to be incorrect. Then in August, once again, the law firm was hired to do another investigation. And once again, every one of those charges were refuted. And once again, none of those charges made their way into this particular charges before you today. It's pretty interesting how they keep changing. Also, what needs to be said to this board is that this district has over 20 out-of-date policies. During the last few years, not a single mandated or recommended policy was updated. And many of those policies actually refer to stuff we're talking about today, fire drills and student funding. So it's pretty interesting that you're talking to me about not following rules and regs that are district policies when your policies are outdated. Slightly over 2 months ago, without evidence of any wrongdoing, with great fanfare and importantly, without your consent, the board members, you didn't have a say in this, on the eve of Hanukkah, the superintendent changed the locks on my door and put me on administrative paid leave without cause, giving everyone the impression that I was a criminal who could not be trusted to be around students. A review of the charges, even if they were true, and I say that even if they were true because they are not true, did not necessitate the superintendent acting in such an aggressive, bullying, anti-Semitic, callous manner. The superintendent stated at a previous board meeting, and I quote, "I'll be clear, none of these events have anything to do with the welfare of any children in the building. But if you look at the charges before you, it is obvious that the superintendent was either not candid with the board on January 9th, or he's not candid with the statement he gave you guys to read." Because 7...
You have 30 seconds left.
Did you take the time out from me?
Yeah, I did. I stopped it.
You did?
Yeah.
All right, let me just let you know about the law firm that's here. Let me close with that. Why would the board follow the recommendation of this law firm? The same law firm who told the previous board that it was okay to pay for the administrators' colleges prior to them taking the courses, and that a doctorate from a non-accredited college is acceptable. The same firm who encouraged the board to go after the bloggers. The same law firm who said it would be a good idea to file ethics charges against a former board member. The same law firm who negotiated the early retirement plan for the former superintendent, which was rejected by the county superintendent. The same law firm who allowed the district to violate the law by not making...
Excuse me, you're taking time away from other people who I'm sure want to speak for you.
I got 2 sentences left.
No. We stated what the rules were in the beginning. No one said anything about...
But nobody said you were going to stop me from talking in the middle either.
Excuse me?
Nobody said that the lawyer would stop me from talking in the middle of
I gave you the time. I said I stopped the clock.
I didn't see 4 minutes on my clock.
You're going to accuse me of lying to you that I didn't stop the clock, Jeff?
Pesci?
Yeah.
Questionable.
I'm questionable?
Questionable.
I'm questionable.
Questionable.
Yeah? Stop. Okay. Your time is up. Next person up?
I'll let the next person read it for me.
Stu Moskowitz. Mr. Moskowitz, I'm sure you have your watch there, so go ahead.
My name is Stu Moskowitz, and I'm from Manalapan. Some of you may know me, some of you may not. You might remember me. Every time you vote, your weighted voting was my plan. The fact that we have 2 towns voting for each person was my plan, because when I stood here in September of 1997, when another superintendent refused to admit he made a mistake and said that the board was unconstitutional and could not get anybody to bend from a stubborn and irrational position, I said in 1 month I'm going to the federal court and I'm going to get the board declared unconstitutional. On October 31st, 1997, I did just that, and that's why you vote the way you do. Why are we here today? We are here today because in May of 2011, charges were brought against Mr. Simon to keep him from getting his increment. They were a retaliation for whistleblowing against one of your administrators. Retaliation in violation of the Conscientious Employees Protection Act. Every one of those charges were blown to smithereens. New charges were filed in August of 2001. I responded to that. Every single one of those charges were shown to be without merit. December 2011, without coming to the board, the superintendent and Mr. Edelstein, who used to be your attorney, who was removed for a reason, went and had him suspended without the board's knowledge. Every one of those charges were refuted. In February 2012, February 6th, a new group of 13 affidavits came forward Mr. Edelstein, Mr. Simon filed a response, 38 pages, showing that every single allegation of every single affidavit was false. And the result of that was Friday, this past Friday, and Monday, whether you know it or not, Mr. Edelstein's team was back in Manalapan High School desperately trying to find something else. I suspect when you voted in executive session, it was based on that we've never seen, because we'd blow those apart also. Right now, as a result of the board's action, incredible that knowing all of these people were here to speak, you chose to act afraid of the truth, afraid of the public. You chose to act. Laugh all you want, but if you were serious about this, if Mr. Sampson believed in the charges, he'd have no problem listening to the public first. The fact of the matter is, we will be going before the Commissioner of Education, we will be going before the Superior Court, we will be going before the Appellate Division if necessary, and the taxpayers will pay for every dollar of this, and guess who's going to get wealthy? Mr. Edelstein. Now, you may think that a few $100,000 in taxpayer money that could have been paid for after-school activities, teachers, books, little luxuries like that there's no harm when passing this on to the Commissioner of Education. Well, you're wrong, because I'm about to show you that what you've done irresponsibly, with no evidence and without hearing from the public, will damage, if not destroy, the careers of at least 30 or 40 students from all the towns who go to Manalapan High School.
Mr. Moskowitz.
Mr. Simon.
Mr. Moskowitz, I'm sure your watch is much more expensive than mine. You have 30 seconds. Okay.
I'm going to beg the indulgence of the board, and I'd like to poll the board as to whether I can have additional time, given the seriousness of the situation.
No, there's no polling the board. You're wasting your time. Go ahead.
I don't think, Mr. President, that you were elected to be a dictator. I think you were elected to
be a dictator.
Excuse me.
I said the rules before we started.
Mr. Moskowitz, the board president, not you, is in charge of the meeting.
You might think that a few $100,000 in taxpayer money that could have been paid for these things that the students could use, no harm. Mr. Simon...
Sorry, Mr. Moskowitz, your time is up.
Mr. Simon wrote recommendations for 30 or 40
Mr.
students.
Moskowitz, your time is up.
Those students have admissions directors from Princeton, Harvard, MIT, Quinnipiac, Rutgers, other people writing in, asking for his recommendation. Okay, they are being told that he's been suspended, and as a result of that, they are not getting into those colleges.
Thank you, Mr. Moskowitz.
It's disgraceful. It's disgraceful.
Mike, you're up.
Without hearing from the public.
Mike, could you tell me your last name? Because I can't read.
Bamonte. Bamonte.
Bamonte, okay.
I can't speak French. Good evening. My name is Mike Bamonte. I'm a parent of 2 children in Manalapan, one a recent grad who is attending Rutgers, a second who is a freshman at Manalapan High School. Unfortunately, I stand before you yet again on behalf of the students, parents, and Principal Simon of Manalapan High School. My family and I have been involved on the periphery of New York City politics for over 30 years. Frankly, the behavior of the Freehold Regional School Board makes New York City look pale in comparison. By removing Principal Simon, once again, the school board has replaced ethics, statistics, leadership, and mentoring with personal vendettas, retaliation, collusion, and revenge. The new cornerstones of its operational objectives. The rogue and cavalier fashion in which the removal of Principal Simon was handled, along with additional administrative moves, is clear retaliation by the district for the mishandling of the coaching situation by Dr. Kagler, whose decision, her decision was subsequently overturned at the subsequent board meeting. As I did some 18 months ago when I last spoke to the board, I implore you to act in the best interest of the students and restore Jeff Simon as principal of Manalapan High School. The people will not go quietly. Act now to avoid further embarrassment.
Okay, we have Alexandria Fitzgerald, and if Martin E. Mabe, and Jake Cohen, and I think it's, I can't read, Yale, or Kale, Serlin, come down towards the mic. Alexandria?
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. I just want to say on a lighter note, in preparation, I wore 5-inch heels because I can never reach this microphone. So if we could change that, I'd really appreciate it. Second of all, I am a community member, a former graduate of Manalapan High School, or whatever Manalapan other programs you have, and I'm a proud graduate, and I will always be a proud graduate. Although I have like a million different principals and administrators, the one who has stuck with me is Mr. Simon. I would like to say that I loved your presentation on foreign languages because I'm a recent study abroad graduate. I just spent 5 months in Italy, and I can now speak fluent Italian, and I'm getting to Spanish. It's a little difficult. But I would like to say that wouldn't be possible if it wasn't for such a great school that I went to, and a school that promoted students who weren't just athletes, because I was an athlete who participated in every freaking club you could possibly imagine. And really weird, Mike Belmonte, who just spoke, me and his son dated, and we're best friends, and we're both proud graduates of Manalapan, is the point that I'd like to make. We're both at colleges on scholarships because of the great background we have. Whether that's for sports or academics, that's a different reason. I'd like to say now that in representation of Mr. Gallagher, he was one of my SAT tutors, and because of that, I got to college and got a scholarship, and now I'm on the dean's list. And I'm not here to attack anyone. I'm not here to fight. I'm just here to represent where I came from, and you guys are part of that reason why we have so many people here, why so many other college students would be here today, but they're at college getting great educations just like I am. And it's really, really hard for me, and I'm not even crying because I'm not messing up my makeup, but it's really hard for me to see such great people I know, just be lost in the system, and I don't want to see that, especially because I have sisters and cousins who are coming up through it too, and I think it is a great system, and I would recommend it to anyone else to be part of the Freehold Regional High School District. That's it, right? The whole thing? Okay. And yeah, I got a whole big thing on here, but I'm not doing it. And what I'd like to close off on is that I agree with what you said, that believing in change is sometimes the hardest thing you can do. But when you have this many people who are here in support of a cause, it says something. I agree in that quality, not quantity, but numbers do speak. And I do wish that my biggest problem, again, was picking a prom dress. College is so much harder than high school. So that's all I'd like to say, and have a great evening. And if we could fix the microphone, I'd really appreciate it.
Thank you. Martin?
President Moses, Vice President Cetera, members of the board, thank you for the opportunity to make a brief statement. I'm here tonight to speak on the matter concerning the temporary suspension of Principal Simon of Manalapan. Unlike some others here, I am not speaking as a friend of any parties in the dispute, but as an advocate for the taxpayers that support this school district. While I am here today speaking simply for myself, I am in fact a public servant as well. I have for decades proudly served my community as a search and rescue commander, an advocate against domestic violence, an EMT and a crew chief with the EMS in Manalapan and Englishtown, and a member of any number of community, county, and statewide commissions. As a Manalapan resident and taxpayer, I am up to my neck in disgust with public officials who feel they can use my wallet to pursue their own personal agenda or vendetta. We went through it once in Manalapan when a committee woman tried silencing a former township attorney over a land purchase issue. And again, when the same committee woman tried to force a former police chief into retirement by maliciously making false and derogatory accusations against him, not much different from what we appear to be dealing with here today. In both of those instances, the defendant's attorney was able to show the accusations and actions of the governing body for what they were, a personal witch hunt in which the arrogance and the power of the officials, and not the truth or what was best for the taxpayer or the students in this case, was at stake. You all should know that those two matters alone represented an abuse of power that cost the residents of Manalapan nearly $750,000. You should also know that in both instances, the defendants who won their matters were represented by the same attorney that sits next to Mr. Jeff Simon today. I'd ask the representative from Marlborough, are the people of Marlborough aware that their tax dollars will be used to help fund what will likely turn into a $500,000 legal bill, and that'll just be for your attorney? I can only imagine what we're going to owe Mr. Simon and his attorney once this case is thrown out of court in 6 months for lack of any clear evidence. Mr. Rassatola, are you willing to tell the parents of Colts Neck that part of why some of their after-school programs have to be canceled at your high school is because the board found the need to go along with the Simon matter just to get along with some superintendent's office, all too quick to pull the trigger on this man on my dime? Mr. Moses, the last board was removed by the voters, many of whom in this room, precisely because they were pursuing garbage like this. This board was empowered by the voters so that garbage like this would not be allowed to waste our time, our children's opportunities, and our hard-earned tax dollars. No one in this room, short of the attorneys, the board members, and the parties involved, have been privy to the internal documents of this investigation. If there truly is a smoking gun in which all the accusations can be proved with enough certainty that any reasonably thinking adult could agree, then, sir, do your job. If, on the other hand, if this is nothing more than a case of he said, she said, with accusations being made by individuals who have everything to gain from the removal of our principal and nothing to lose by letting you do their dirty work for them,
Martin, you have 30 seconds.
Then it is your responsibility to stop it here and now before this ends up costing us another couple of $100,000. If we can't trust this board to do the right thing, and we spend the next 12 months watching this unfold into a cesspool of politics smeared across the Asbury Park press, then I can assure you the voters in Colts Neck, Marlborough, Freehold, Howell, and Manalapan will not hesitate to find and finish the job they started when they elected you to begin with.
Thank you. Next up is Jake.
Hello. My name is Jake Cohen, and I'm a senior at Manalapan High School. On September 12th, I was playing for the varsity soccer team, and I suffered a terrible leg injury, which resulted in me having 10 surgeries over 4 months. I really haven't been in school for much of the year, but Mr. Simon has continued to reach out to me. I just want to speak on behalf of his character and his caring and his being as an approachable guy as anyone I know, that through as difficult as it was physically and mentally on me, he was consistently shooting me a text message or an email or a phone call. Jake, how are you doing? How are you doing? Come on, we want you back in school. Just encouraging me over and over again and giving me the support that I brutally needed in such a tough time. And I just think you guys should know that above any teachers or faculty members I've dealt with in my 4 years in Manalapan High School, I would mark him with the best. And just from a student's perspective, and I speak for all the students here and all the parents here, he's just a great guy, and we appreciate him in our school.
Thank you, Jake.
I think the next person is it Yale Serling? Well, yeah, I mean, they can have 4 minutes.
Give it to the lawyer.
No, he already spoke. That's...
I'll read it. Yep.
All right, Mike, be a lawyer. Go ahead.
All right. Many of you were elected to replace the last board who didn't have the courage to control what you board members are elected to control. They allow themselves to be pulled by the nose by the superintendent. They are no longer here, you are. We are here tonight because a superintendent made a serious mistake and doesn't seem to be exhibiting the integrity or courage to admit that he made a mistake. Sounds familiar. You were elected to supervise the superintendent, to supervise the district's labor attorney, to supervise Dr. Koliger. You were elected to do what the last board did not do. You are elected to protect the students, to protect the taxpayers, to protect this district, and you are not elected. You are not elected and will not be re-elected in the rubber stamp.
Thank you.
Maxine Salim.
Maxine. Sorry.
I'm Yale's mom. I live at 63 Heritage Drive, Englishtown, New Jersey. The gentleman that spoke prior to Jake said everything I want to say. I cannot believe that I am here again. I have not participated in any of these meetings except the meeting that discussed Galliu and his situation. And I feel like I'm back doing the exact same thing. I can't understand why you particularly are so angry at Mr. Simon. I just don't understand it. I don't understand why there is a board meeting and the next day the principal is removed without discussing it at a board meeting. I don't understand why you are elected and represent us, the public, and we don't know why he was removed. At the same time, the media talks about pedophiles in schools. I just don't understand what he did. Don't we have a right to know why a principal is removed? But normally, the way things work, I mean, when you're in a union, I would like your attention.
No, I was trying.
You have an into this man, clearly.
I was trying to get an answer to your question, miss.
I don't know. You can't answer my questions. You've already said you can't.
No, I'm trying.
Usually, before you accuse somebody, you have the facts, you line them up. He has a union. Usually, in a union, you usually write somebody up and tell them what they did wrong. You don't remove them and then tell them three months later what they did. Now, I've been back to Manalapan High School. It's like a prison. The gates go down at 2:10. The kids are not allowed to go down to school. It wasn't like there was vandalism or there was theft. I mean, this just seems like a witch hunt. You know, it seems like there are people on this board or connected to this board that don't like this man for whatever reason. But the students liked him. He had an open door policy. Kids who didn't really get along with administrators were happy to go in and talk to him. Parents were happy. I don't understand why this board doesn't want the Manalapan family to be happy. I was back here last year fighting for Galliu to not be taken from his job because he promised the kids that he would stand by them. I don't understand. You know, enlighten me as to why you, Mr. Moses, have it in for him. I certainly imagine you're not anti-Semitic. Right?
No, not with...
Right.
Not
with the name Eshe?
Right.
Right.
Absolutely.
So I just don't understand. I don't understand why we're wasting money. I have a kid in 6th grade who's going to be coming into this district and who has special needs. He doesn't speak. You talked about communication. Are you going to have a sign language program? Are you going to be able to take a sign language aid to go with him like they do in Manalapan High School? Or we're going to just waste money, you know, going after people we don't like because somebody else wanted this job or because he didn't say yes to somebody. Do I still have time?
Yes, ma'am.
Wow! I just don't understand, and I don't understand why make the decision prior to hearing us. That exact same thing happened the last time with Galliu. And then we all came up here and pleaded, and then you changed your mind. There was no real law. I mean, what does the lawyer say? We're going to waste money, and the lawyers get rich. Sounds like a divorce. How much is it worth? And then the lawyers get their 2/3, and the rest of the people get to scramble. What did this man do that was so terrible? The students were happy, the parents were happy, the teams were doing well. I don't understand.
Parents should know what he did.
Yeah, how do we know? We had to come up to a meeting and you can't tell us anything. We came here to get answers.
You have 5 seconds. You want to say anything else?
No, I'll give you my 5 seconds.
Okay.
You have any answers?
Yes, I was not being rude to you. I was trying to get an answer to your question. The answer... No, he called me questionable, so I'm not good when people say stuff like that to me.
Really? You have...
I don't want to go back and forth, Maxine. I want to answer your question. Okay. According to the law, if you OPR the charges against him, Yeah, is that correct? File a request for the charges. They will be given to you. I think we have legally 7 days to get them to you. Okay, so everyone in this audience can ask, and they will see the charges.
There are a lot of people here, but there are a lot of people who are not here for whatever reason. They didn't have child care, they couldn't make the meeting, they work, kids in school, lots of kids. So should I start a petition? Should I start asking people to put their names so that you can see how many people really want this man? And we want you to say, we made a mistake, we acted hasty, we're sorry, just like you did the last time with the Gallia situation. And now you're smiling because you really enjoyed it.
No, Maxine, you don't know. Unless you can read minds, you don't know what I'm thinking. I'm thinking I'm giving you extra time past your 4 minutes. That's what I was thinking. So can we get the next person, please? Thank you, Maxine. Okay. Next we have Philip Arena. It's not working? I don't think it is. Wait, excuse me 1 second, Phil, before you start, because I don't want you not to be heard. Is that microphone working?
Testing.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Well, hello everyone. I am Philip Arena. I'm currently a junior at Manalapan High School, and I'm here to show my full support for Mr. Simon here. Freshman year, I attended Coltsec High School for a law program, which I did not personally enjoy, and I transferred back to Manalapan. Over the time, I had some troubles, and I would constantly be going to Mr. Simon for help, and he was always there to help me, and I know for a fact that he was always there to help other students too. And coming from a student, considering most people here are parents right now, they don't know really how school worked, and for Mr. Simon to be such an amazing principal where anyone, no matter what their problem was, could go to him and get help it was amazing. It was amazing to have someone like him there for you, where you can go, no matter what the problem was, no matter what time it was, you could always go to him with your problem. And the fact that when all this happens, that these rumors circulating around school, the fact some of them were they were humorous, how funny and insane they were, because when you know such a great guy like him, when these go through your head like, oh, people actually believe that, it makes you actually consider like, oh, you know what, I wonder what these accusations are, and I'm not going to bring these up because none of us know what they are, and, you know, I guess we can't, and I'm sorry to bring this subject back, but I'm just reflecting on the fact that Mr. Simon was by far the greatest principal that I've experienced through my entire schooling career from K through now 11th grade, and that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Mike Fontaine, is that right, the last name? Okay.
Thank you for letting me speak. My name is Mike Fountain. My name is Mike Fountain. I'm a police officer with the Manalapan Police Department. I'm currently at the rank of lieutenant. I met Jeff Simon when he took the job for the township, for the school as the principal. Part of my role in dealing with Mr. Simon is that I'm the training officer for the police department. At the time, we really didn't have a program in effect that I was comfortable with at the high school. As you folks are aware on the board, the state now mandates rapid response to active shooter training for police departments in dealing with schools. Unfortunately, we just had a recent incident in Ohio as early as today where it occurred as well. I would like to say that my experience with Mr. Simon prior to the state mandating the training was that he was very aggressive and proactive in allowing the police department and his staff and himself to work together to put together numerous drills that we did in conjunction with the first aid, the fire department, the CERT team, and all of the community services, as well as the teachers that I gave a presentation to during their in-service training day at one point, asking them how to respond in a situation that could cost lives in the school. Mr. Simon was the catalyst that started all that. We learned a lot of things from the drills. Mr. Simon was active in trying to overcome the mistakes that we made. For instance, once we went into lockdown at the school, we recognized in one of our drills that the police could not get into the classrooms. They were locked, as they should be. He was able to provide us with master keys that we were able to use, and now the police department has it as a result of Mr. Simon, that we can get into the school and into the individual classrooms should a situation arise. We also recognize that the school is very big. It would be a lot easier for us if we could figure out where the violence was coming from. He was able to get us access to the cameras inside the building that we can get into via our computer system, radio to our police officers to let them know where the problem is. To me, that was very proactive in not only a safety for the students, the staff, the community, but what's important to me is my police officers. I think that Jeff Simon deserves some credit for that. I recognize that you folks have already voted for it. I debated whether I was going to come up and speak, but I decided to for the people that are here in his support, because they probably didn't know this about him, probably didn't know what he did, probably expected it from him, knowing his character, but I wanted to make sure that they did know it. Thank you for your time.
Next up is Reggie Grant.
Good evening. My name is Reggie Grant. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. I come to you as a parent, a former student of Manalapan, a mentor, a coach, assistant coach, and a police officer at Manalapan Township. Through this time, I've had the opportunity to see a lot of changes in Manalapan. I've seen a lot of people come, a lot of people go, a lot of good things and a lot of bad things. The one thing I know for sure that Manalapan did great was hire this man here. I judge a man on his character, the way he carries himself, and he exceeded every expectation that I ever had. My boys, I have one son that just recently graduated. I have a sophomore in Manalapan now. I would leave this man with my child at any time. I have a lot of trust in him. He is one professional man, one very professional man. I really do wish that this board would have heard the public speak before making that decision. I really do. We say it's about the kids. This is all that this is about. The only person that you're hurting, the only people that you're hurting right now are the children. I speak to my son every day, and I ask him how's the school. I speak to friends, the students, outside of school, and I ask them how's the school. They say that they miss their principal. Manalapan is his home, and I hope that after this is all done, he comes back home. Thank you.
Thank you, Reggie. Joseph Tetley. Did I say it right?
Thank you. My name is Joseph Tetley. I'm an assistant football coach at Manalapan High School for the last 10 years. I'm also a retired New York City school teacher. I retired with 38 years of service, 10 of which I spent at a special ed high school where I was the department chairman of an autistic program. So I know the meaning of what I'm going to speak about now, which is school tone. I think you all can understand that tone in any school, any place where a bunch of people are congregated, especially young adolescents, is very important. I began coaching at Manalapan in 2001, and I usually got there about 2 o'clock or just before dismissal time. The first 5 or 6 years of my time there, I was pretty aghast at the way that time was and the tenor of the school. It was just chaotic. It also seemed almost dangerous. The kids were not supervised. When I got there before the bell rang, oftentimes there were lots of kids walking around the building. There were lots of kids in the parking lot, unsupervised. When the bell did ring, there was a merger of children that was truly dangerous for them. 2007, I believe, is when Mr. Simon came to take over our building as principal. I would say within 3 to 4 months, that entire condition stopped to be. He did a wonderful job of securing the halls, of making the place a real high school, a nice learning experience. Walking through the halls you would no longer see kids, they were in class. When the bell rang, there was an orderly dismissal. There were administration that were involved and actively seemed happy to be doing their job. So if we're talking about a learning experience, a place where kids can come and get things done, I think that my little scientific experiment is one that you should consider. However, I'm upset because it seems like we're doing things backwards here. It seems to me that we should have had this discussion before you all made your decision. And I don't know if it's possible for you sometime in the future to reconsider after hearing all the wonderful things said about this man. He's a good principal. He's a friend to the school. He has fostered a collegiate atmosphere there amongst his staff. Now, I know from being a supervisor and assistant principal that you can find a staff member or two who hates any administrator or doesn't like them. But if you questioned or polled most of the people in Manalapan High School, you would see that they're behind him 100%. I hope that you take this into consideration when you have future meetings. Perhaps we can avoid all this unhappiness and restore him to the position that he so justly deserves. Thanks for hearing me.
Thank you, Joseph. Dina Gaglione or Gagliori?
I hate to speak, but I just had to come up and say something positive about Mr. Simon. My son is a sophomore. He was a freshman his second day of high school. Actually, he broke his leg, and I had a horrendous experience trying to get him situated to have schoolwork, have teachers, and everyone I had to deal with gave me a really difficult time except Mr. Simon. He immediately responded to all of my needs and to help my son Parker get back into school and opened up the door for him to be able to make his horrible experience with a cast up to here, much more positive, considering I had to deal with everybody who really didn't want him back in the building. And it's really sad because everybody I speak to, and my only experience has been that in a positive way, but besides that, I see when I've been there all that last year, and my friend's son who did that, Mr. Manalapan, in his skit, the kids just love him. He's very open, welcoming, and it's really unfair. And since nobody knows what's going on, that's even more unfair to us. And listening to everybody, it really is sad. My other son has a special needs program at Colton. Dr. Hazel knows us very well, and we had a horrendous experience. They were never welcoming there. They don't even know why they keep that program there because they don't really care about those kids. So to compare one thing to the other is really, really too bad, and I'm just here really for support because I think it's so unfair, and I think, if anything, we should be made aware of what's going on, and if not, we should get back the principal who everybody loves.
Thank you. Adele Scavone? Adele? No, should I?
Like Mr. Simon, when you were younger, you have an easier time with English.
Whoever the gentleman is who said that, I might have an easier time with penmanship as well. The next name, I can't read the first name. I think it's Megan, or...
No,
I don't know.
You should have printed the name. Easier.
Megan with a K? Maybe it's Michael, Karen? Okay, excuse me. It's okay.
Thank you. So, Megan, Michael, whatever, it doesn't matter. I just want to start off by saying that it's amazing that the public gets 4 minutes to speak each person when this board took 45 minutes of extra time in closed session. I also question, as always, the behavior of this board because you are elected to serve for the betterment of the children. And I can't imagine how many people I have heard come up here and say that so far the actions have been helpful towards that. I will say also that these meetings, I have come to them whenever I find a very important issue. And every time I've come here, I have found the important issues will end up decided before we ever get a chance to ask or say anything. I will sit back and say that I know that I spoke 11 times to the discussion of redistricting and the amount of the schools and what we called the school, whether we decided it was called Manalapan High School or Freehold, and yet people from all over the place, before we went to special programs, were sent all over the place. I want to say that I've been an active member of this community, and I have lived in Manalapan since 1970. I am a proud graduate of Manalapan High School, and I will tell you on the class of 1984. I am now a proud parent of a Manalapan High School student. I am currently the coordinator of the 3M Soccer Club at Manalapan Soccer Club, and I just finished my tenure as the president of Temple Shari-Emeth, located here in Manalapan. I just want to add that I am just sad that all the dealings and the discussions so far tonight about Mr. Simon do not give us any insight whatsoever as to what has actually transpired. And to me, that's a disgrace. I also just want to end on one note, and that is, Christmas, holiday, Hanukkah, wonderful winter season time is about being with your family and doing things that are good and important to all of us. And the timing in which we chose, or you chose, to make this discussion was poor, to say the least.
Thank you. Next up is Lee McDonald.
Good evening. Thank you for this opportunity to speak. I'm Lee McDonald, 27 Bristol Road, Manalapan. For nearly 2 years, I worked side by side on a daily basis as a guidance supervisor at Manalapan High School. It was a great experience for me, and during that time, I had a great opportunity to see Mr. Jeff Simon in many capacities. Besides being the instructional leader and the building principal, he served in many roles. This included teacher, counselor, coach, mentor, friend. Above all else, he always put the students first. To me, that speaks volumes of his character. And at the end of the day, I think that's the reason why we're all here, is for the students. And if there's one person in this building right now that has the best interest of the students at Manalapan High School, it's Mr. Jeff Simon. That being said, I can only hope that when my 2 young children enter the Freehold Regional High School District, that Mr. Jeff Simon is fully restored back at the high school where he belongs. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Kim Whitehill.
Hi, my name is Kimberly Whitehill. I'm a mom, I'm a daughter, and I'm a wife. I'm also a police officer in Manalapan Township Police Department. I've been a police officer in Manalapan for 13 years. I've been very fortunate to be assigned to the DARE program. I taught in all the schools, 4th grade and 6th grade. I was also very fortunate to teach in the high school as a high school resource officer,
which gave me the opportunity to have a great rapport with the teachers and the students. I do have the inside scoop. You know, I get to see the inside with the interaction with the students and the teachers. Mr. Simon is a gentleman. He's got honor and integrity. He's a man. He's a true man. If I ever needed anything or someone to go to or trust my 2 small children with, Mr. Simon would definitely be on the top of my list. As a police officer in Manalapan, I've heard nothing, no criminal charges against Mr. Simon. I'm sure as a parent, they need to know this. As a parent, you wonder why a principal is removed. There are a lot of rumors that's going on around about him. Unfortunately, they're all negative. But the people that truly do know Mr. Simon, we are here to support him, that he's a true gentleman. We are here tonight about the children. And from sitting back there listening to this, I've heard a lot of inappropriate comments about the time or the watches or other things that are just inappropriate. We're missing the picture. This is about the kids. This is about their future. They have some students, obviously they're students that are seniors, that are graduating, and the impact that Mr. Simon has had on their lives, that's their future, their scholarships, and that's all being put aside. For whatever's going on up here, or the accusations, it's a shame, because he's a true gentleman, and he's there for the kids. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Linda Mahoney.
My name is Linda Mahoney. I'm a resident of 19 Regency Way, Manalapan. I'm a parent. I have 5 children. 4 have graduated from Manalapan High School, and I have 1 child who's a senior at Manalapan right now. I'm a resident, 23 years in Manalapan, and a taxpayer. And I just want you to know, I've never gone to any of your meetings before, but I have read what you've decided and things that you've said in the transcript every week. And I just felt I needed to come tonight to give Mr. Simon my support. My other children who have been at Manalapan High School have had other principals in the past, and they just don't compare to Mr. Simon. He's warm, he's friendly, he's caring, he's a man of integrity, a man of strength, a man that I've gone to just to speak to about, different things. He goes to our booster meetings. I'm a member of the booster board as well. He's at every booster meeting, every football game, wrestling tournament. Whenever we're volunteering, he's there volunteering right alongside us. He's concerned about the children. He really cares about what goes on. And I just wanted to say, I've never been to one of your meetings, but after reading what I've been reading and hearing what I've been hearing, as the Board of Ed, making this a closed thing by not revealing any information to a taxpayer, to a parent. I mean, how do I know something seriously didn't go wrong? My child is there every day. It puts the Board of Ed in a very bad position. You might be great volunteers, you might have great careers outside of the board, but putting it in a secret mode like this makes you look bad. People like me sitting in the audience are now looking at you like you're the enemy, we're the good guys, and that may not be true, but whatever information you have, whether it's minor or major, the fact that you're not making it public and letting taxpayers and residents and parents know makes it worse for you. People look at you like, what are they hiding? What went on? What's going on? Somebody like me sitting in the audience is now fantasizing, what are they hiding? What did they say in that closed session? And as a teacher, I teach pre-K children in a daycare center, and I know the importance of, integrity. I know the importance of reporting any type of abuse. In my job, I have to report any type of physical, emotional, or sexual abuse by a teacher or a student, and I have to report it to the state within 24 hours, or I could lose my job. I don't even have to have evidence. I just have to have sneaky suspicion something funny is going on. I report it, the teacher is taken out of the building. For a couple of weeks, an investigation goes on. And I feel like all of this I don't know what the accusations are, so my mind starts to fantasize, and you may have a job to do, you may need to keep, you may need to find some wrongdoing, but if you have something against a person, I think it's up to you to at least let the parents and the taxpayers know what's going on. We're not asking for, we're not asking for the world. We just want to know what exactly you have on an individual. Just like if I made an allegation, I have to go to the state right away. It's serious, it's investigated, and within 2 or 3 weeks, the person's either cleared and they're back to their jobs or they're let go. But this process of where it's dragged on, it's in the newspaper, you Google, you see it everywhere, you're destroying a person, you're destroying a family, you're destroying a career, you're destroying kids. You say, my son is a senior, I want my diploma given to me by Mr. Simon. Where's Mr. Simon? He's not here. What happened to him? And as a parent, how do I explain that? We're adults, I'm within your age range. How come I don't know what's going on? Do you have an answer for me, or will I ever know what went on?
Yes, you could know, tomorrow you could file an OPA request, and within 7 days you will get all the charges that are there. And I just want to say, Linda, I'm someone who taught in school for 35 years. We follow the law. We follow the law. So, I mean, for people saying that we have vendettas and things like that, I mean, I don't have a vendetta against anybody. I was instructed to follow the law.
But when you put it in secrecy, it now takes on a different animal. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand exactly what you're saying. But I'm just saying we follow the law. We couldn't have given out the charges, where we would have broken the law, and I'm sure that Mr. Simon's lawyer knows that as well.
But as a taxpayer, as a parent, it's like, I see it in the newspaper, this teacher in New York arrested for this teacher in Philadelphia, a shooting in Ohio. All that's in the news. Yet in my own town, my own child's principal is out for a couple of months. I know him personally because I'm on the booster board and I get involved in the school. I don't know why.
Okay. Well, I can only repeat what our legal representative has told us, that you can file.
Who do I write the letter to?
The OPA request goes to Sean Boyce.
Sean Boyce. And you'll send me information in the mail?
Yes.
You'll let me know the charges, but you won't tell me now. I have to see it in writing.
Yeah. You email me, I'll send it to
But if I want to get it from you, what is your email, or who do I mail it to?
You request a public record, and we can discuss it tomorrow if you'd like.
Where? How do I discuss it tomorrow?
I'm at Central Office, 11 Pine Street.
What is the address that I would like the letter to?
11 Pine Street,
11 Pine Street. All right, thank you, I will. Thank you for your time.
You're welcome. Gloria Ann Bruno.
Good evening. I didn't realize I had such a fan crew. First, I want to start, Gloria and Bruno Manalapan. I want to start off by saying I speak on my own behalf and not not on the behalf of any of the organizations that I represent. The reason why I wanted to speak tonight is to express my disappointment and shock in how the administration handled Mr. Simon's situation. Mr. Simon was yanked out of Manalapan High School as though he was an outright criminal. It has been well over 60 days since this investigation started, and as of today's date, the parents and the taxpayers of Manalapan still have no answers as to why Mr. Simon was abruptly removed from Manalapan High School, other than saying that the investigation had nothing to do with his personal life or students. As many of you know on the board and the administration, I am very involved in the community, and I felt that I had an obligation to come here and express to the board that I've, as many of you know, I've had the opportunity to deal with Mr. Simon on many different levels. As a parent of two Manalapan high school students, and as the president of the cheerleading parent organization, as well as the president of the Manalapan Braves Booster Club. And no matter how many times I have contacted Mr. Simon, and believe me, sometimes it could have been several times a week, he has always managed to return my calls within the same day, if not within minutes. Mr. Simon is the kind of principal who is open-minded and is always available, and no matter what kind of a hectic day he may be having, he will always take the time to address any complaints and issues that the parents may have. And he always makes sure that he handles these matters diplomatically and that they will always resolve. He's the kind of principal who always has the student's best interest at heart. I know that I could always rely on Mr. Simon for his guidance and advice on any situations that I may have come across. I have nothing but the utmost respect and admiration for Mr. Simon, and I know that many residents in Manalapan feel the same way as I do. The rest of my speech was going to be presented to the board that you do not vote to pass this on to the commissioner's office, as obviously, as many people have said before, it was going to cost the taxpayers a substantial amount of money. But obviously, you've already made that decision without giving us the chance to get up here and speak. And I just want to remind the Board of Ed members that I know when I go out to vote, I go out to vote for members that have the parents' best interest and the students' best interest in mind. When I vote for someone, I am hoping that that person that I am voting for is going to listen to what the parents and the students and people within the community have to say. And unfortunately, I do not feel right now that is the response that we are getting. So I hope that going forward, that the Board of Ed will keep in mind who put you in the position where you are. Thank you.
Thank you. The next person up, I think, is Michelle. Is it Cardinal? No. Okay, thank you. Next up is Judy, is it Weisenberg? Susan Cohen.
Good evening. I'm Susan Cohen. I'm the mayor of Manalapan, but I'm going to give my time to our former mayor, Andrew Lucas.
Good evening, Board. Mr. President, the mayor and I are just, I guess the last time we were here together, it was for Assistant Principal Gallahue, and we just wanted to thank the board for reconsidering back then and really helping the Manalapan community out. For the last year, it's been just a wonderful year in Manalapan High School. We know as public servants that you guys have a tough job to do, and we wanted to just begin by thanking you for the service that you put in. I know you, since the last time I was here, you have a new superintendent. The mayor and I have gotten to work with Superintendent Sampson. I believe he's a great talent. You made a wonderful decision in appointing him, and I know he's going to lead the district in the right direction. This evening, you know, we came here because for the first time in many years as public servants, we actually formed a partnership with the principal of Manalapan High School. Principal Jeff Simon has just been not just a partner, he's been a member of our community. He has joined many of our advisory boards. He has been just inspirational to other volunteers and to kids in Manalapan. And, you know, I think the best way that we could sum it up is the mayor has a grandson that's just turned 4. My wife and I just recently, about a year ago, were able to welcome our first little daughter. And we both said, as we were talking about this situation, that there's no one we would rather have as a principal over, our most precious resources than Jeff Simon. So thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight.
Just one last thing that Mayor Lucas is not able to speak about. I'm also president of the domestic violence team. And for 10 years, I tried everything I could to get a program for domestic violence for the students in the school. And it was Mr. Simon that allowed Project Hope to start in the school and helped countless children. I am getting phone calls every day. What did Mr. Simon do? This is our taxpayer money, and I am ashamed that you went ahead before we had a chance to speak. So I would hope that in the future that I don't have to come back here and answer to my residents tomorrow that yet again I have nothing to say to them. Thank you.
All right, next up is Andrew Lucas. Oh, I'm sorry. Danielle Geiger. Is there a Danielle Geiger? No Danielle Geiger. Jim Sage.
Actually, just a couple of questions. How much is this going to cost the district? Do they give any projections how much this is going to cost? Because from what I understand, tenure charges is a very expensive procedure. So did they give us any cost estimates on this?
I don't have an answer to that.
Because from what I understand, this could go almost to $500,000, anywhere from $250,000 to $500,000. Second question, can we have an update on the Evangelista payments with her bogus doctorate degree? I opened documents, which I'm not going to be getting till tomorrow, what accounts, what named or numbered accounts these monies are going into as of November 1st. I should be getting that, I think, in 2 more days.
Yes, Mr. Sage, I'll be responding to your OPRA within the statutory timeline.
All right, so I'm going to have something that indicates where it's going. Third question, Heshy, why this law firm? Why aren't we going through RFPs to get rid of this law firm? They always seem to have been on the wrong side of legal and ethical issues. It's the same law firm that backed up the phony, disgraced doctorate, Dr. Wasser, also backed up Miss Evangelista, who's on this board. They said they were entitled to the doctorate degree. As time went by, we know better. They botched, in my opinion, the BSU debacle, the Flynn matter, the Danny Flynn matter, where they suspended him without pay when then the man was neither indicted or on tenure charges. The judge asked a member of the law firm why he was suspended without pay, and a member of the law firm couldn't answer that. The case is online. And with regards to Mr. Simon, if he prevails on this, or should I say when he prevails, are we prepared to pay out even more money in a hostile working environment suit? In the same manner as DeGroot, Martucci, Connor, I could go on and on, Terry Morales. These people had undisclosed payments. Not all of them, but most of them had undisclosed because this district had a vendetta with going against certain people. So are we prepared for that eventuality as well, in addition to the costly procedure to go against tenure charges against Mr. Simon? Are we prepared for that? It's going to be a very, very expensive ordeal. Thank you.
Thank you. I can't read the first name. Last name is Garcia.
Hi, I'm William Garcia, resident of Manalapan. Wasn't really planning on talking, but I just wanted to come and say that my family, we only know Mr. Simon. My son's a freshman in Manalapan High School, and he's had artistic talent since he was little, and we're here in Manalapan for 7 years and couldn't find anybody to help him with his art. I spoke to Ms. Evangelista, I spoke to Boyd about this artistic program through Manalapan County and the high schools, and they made a call to Mr. Simon, and
Mr. Simon found out about it, and he did what he could, and my son is in the fine arts program. And just to say, you know, he said, if your wife can come down now, it was after school, it was like 3:30, if your wife can come down now with your son, I'll be more than happy to work, you know, let you know, we don't have much time, but I'll see what I could do. And he was able to get my son in the fine arts program, and I just wanted to say, it's one of the very few times that I had a very encouraging and positive reaction from someone in any of the school districts. And, you know, I don't come to many of these board meetings, but this is like, you're acting like the Sopranos over here. Things that are done behind closed doors, you're showing all of us residents why things are done behind closed doors. It's usually done when you don't want people to know what you're doing. That's the reaction that I have. I've only come here a couple of times, and I'm leaving here knowing I can't wait to vote, because none of you guys are going to be voted for next time.
And what better way to close public comment than GLORIN?
Hi, good evening. I'm already up to my, okay, can you hear me now? I just have one question, and not really speaking about what's going on here tonight. Well, it's litigation and personnel that I do understand, but I'll get off the topic. I have questions on your attachment too, but Alex was able to help me on those questions. I wasn't really going to speak, Mr. Moses, but I believe you mentioned that the tentative budget will be voted on tonight. I hope that we will still have a presentation or a hearing on the budget, because even if you live within your 2% cap, we are still entitled for public hearing on that. Also, I found out that we will be getting money like 2.5 right now from Governor Christie. I hope that we can really, you know, not only into this flat rate, but I hope we can work our budget much lower. Thank you. So, by the way, so when are we going to have the hearing for the budget? I know you're going to take a vote, but that is not written in stone, right? Right. We can still question. Okay, thank you. So when?
March 27th.
I'm sorry, Mr. Boyce. No, that's different. That's not
March 27th,
not
Monday.
Personnel.
Monday, March 27th.
March 27th? Thank you.
Sure.
I'd like to make a motion that we take the entire agenda at one shot. Is there anybody who would like to second that?
Do you want to take a 5-minute recess?
Okay, we'll take a 5-minute recess.
I'd like to make a motion for...
All right, I second the motion for a 5-minute recess. All those in favor?
Aye.
Done. Okay. I'd like to make a motion that we take the entire agenda at one shot. Anyone like to second that motion?
Second.
Okay. Discussion?
I have something.
Yes, you.
Sean, there's, on the bill paying list, there's thousands of dollars going out to various sporting good vendors, I assume in anticipation of spring sports. Could you explain the controls that are in place to so if I see $6,000 or whatever the dollar figure is for softball, that the softball coach isn't ordering extravagant uniforms, softballs, whatever the case may be?
Mr.
How do we
Boyce,
keep that under control?
Before you answer, can you repeat the question, because I didn't hear it?
Can we ask the crowd to move it over?
Excuse me, we're trying to have the meeting, so if you would like to talk, could you please leave the auditorium?
What are the controls? For instance, do you see on the bill paying list, they're spending thousands of dollars? I'm going to repeat.
Thank you very much. Okay, go ahead, Michael. Would you repeat your question?
Okay, my question is, If we look at the bill-paying list this month, there's thousands of dollars going out to sporting good vendors. And it mentions the sports and how much money's going out the door. What are the controls in place to make sure a particular coach in a particular sport isn't spending, extravagant sums of money on things that really are not needed?
Okay, well, there's a couple different approaches to that answer, but let me just start by, I think it's good to have a base of how the appropriations or the allocations for the buildings are developed first. The allocation is based on a few different things, but primarily the nature of the population. So every building principal gets an allocation to work with to fund certain things within their building, not including staff. So it's a competitive process within each school for what the principal decides to fund. With regard to athletics in particular, we organize district-wide, all 6 high schools, a mass bid through a company called Ed Data for athletic equipment. So they're way out ahead of it. Actually, in developing their budget, they take a look at what they're going to need for the upcoming year, and that gives them enough time to order it and have it there in time. So we do combine all the purchases from the 6 high schools in order to get the best deal that we can.